What's up, fellas? Hey, listen, I was just out for a little run around the lake during this sweet quarantine time. But it makes me think while I was running around about a Nelson Mandela quote, which, if I remember it correctly, goes, "There's no passion to be found in playing small and settling for a life less than what you're capable of living." And isn't that the truth? I mean, everything in life requires risk, and yet we're living our lives now realizing how seemingly, fragile or vulnerable we truly are, right? We live in these worlds inside our brains where everything kind of revolves around us, and we are constantly struggling about, the bills and all these things that we make a priority that we think are truly important, and yet during these times, nothing seems to be more important than our physical health, our mental health, the health of our loved ones, our friends. And it's been real interesting to talk with people who are without a job right now, and yet they're not all that freaked out because they know it's going to work out. But this is the time, I'll tell you what, this is such a great time to think about just your life and recalibrating, reprioritizing. Because if you look at, you've probably seen it, so many companies have come out of recessions, right? Just the most recent one, 2007 to 2010, roughly, right? What came out of that? Uber, Lyft, Airbnb, WhatsApp, Venmo. There's several others that I'm trying to remember and I can't. But it's oftentimes when things are going pretty shitty in life that allows us to reprioritize and then look at what is it that we really ultimately want, So if you've got more time than you do money right now, or you've got more time than things to do, maybe you take some time to actually sit down and start thinking about, where did you envision your life being when you were much younger? Maybe when you were a teenager, maybe when you were a kid, maybe when you're an early adult. Where were you at 30, 35, 40, 50, 60? And are you where you wanted to be? Because I will tell you, in 2010, after my mom had passed away, my dad had come out that he was gay, the ex-wife left, and I decided that I had to risk everything because I was no longer willing to be the man that I had been, that had led me up to that point where life had been more or less crumbling around me. And so remaining the same man was scarier than at least failing forward, if that makes sense. I started my first gym, St. Louis Fitness Boot Camp, which is still around to this day after I sold it in 2015. It was such a scary experience, but it was scarier to stay where I had been than to fail forward, right? And I quit my job. I literally had no idea what I was going to do. For 3 months, I literally was just kind of how I think a lot of people are living right now. I went into debt, $35,000 worth of credit card debt over the course of that next year, just trying to get my business going, living off of that, taking risks, going to seminars. And yet, compared to the recession I went through, compared to losing love, going personally bankrupt wasn't all that big a deal. And so I wonder if the times that we're facing right now with coronavirus are allowing you to calibrate and prioritize what truly is important and what matters. And are you, if you're on the current trajectory that you're on, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, are you going to be happy with the way that your life turns out? Are you going to be happy with the man that you've been showing up as? And if it's not, then you've got to do something, and there's no better time than now, even with all this craziness, because even in the craziness, there's opportunity, right? Rather burn your boats behind you so that you can take the island, so you have no chance of surrendering, right? And go for what you ultimately want with your dreams and your aspirations, than to get to the end of your life and regret and wonder, oh, what could have been if I had just taken that leap. It's super scary. But I'll tell you right now, it's no harder than that very first step. It's like that first step into the gym after you haven't been there for months or years, right? It's that first step towards asking out that individual that you're interested in and taking that risk of possibly getting rejected, right? So that's what it's about. It's taking the risk and actually not having any fallback, right? So all you have is an option to fail forward and just kind of step into risk. So in these crazy times, man, I suggest take some of this quiet time that you've got, some of this freedom and space, and get a pen, get a piece of paper, and start writing down what you would love your life to look like if you could just dream wildly. What would it look like if you could have everything that you wanted to have? And then start writing down all the things that you don't like having, because you're probably in resistance to those things. And then we've got to start focusing on small little incremental steps, creating some structure day to day, week to week, to get you from point A to point B or point Z, if that makes sense. So hope you guys are enjoying the time. Hope you're getting outside to do a little bit of exercise. We'll catch up with you soon. Later.